Clearly this is an issue that is really facing our region right at the moment. I've been on the board of the Kingaroy Private Hospital for the last 4 years, and I've had a front row seat to see how this issue has unfolded over the last 4 years. I've had some real concerns about council not only being the landlord but also being the tenant. And now private enterprises walked away from this facility over the last number of months. That sets off some alarm bells in the back of my mind. And is this something that ratepayers have got to now pick up the bill for? Particularly when we know that 25% of the community have private health insurance, but 100% of the community would be paying for it. Now, right in here, I don't know whether that's fair for all of those people who would never ever step foot in that facility. I think we've got to look outside the square of how we can get that building dealing with health issues that affect not just private patients but public patients, that everybody's got an opportunity to use that facility. Now there's some different ways that we can do that. I think we've got to continue to grow the number of specialists that are in there, as well as making sure that the health needs of our community are met. We're never going to have all of the health services that we're going to need, that people don't need to travel to Brisbane. We've got to realise we're not in competition with those other hospitals, but if we can provide what we can here that is affordable and potentially even generates a small profit, well, that's a positive. But if that means that we're not running it as a hospital where you go in and stay for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 nights, then that's something we're going to have to explore. And it's going to be an issue that's going to come up really quickly in the next term, because if there are going to be losses that need to be budgeted for, we've got to make sure that we have that decision made, I'd say by about May, to make sure that we know what the budget is going to be by the time it gets brought down in early July. There's a lot of work to be done over the next few months.
It's always been my view that the council should do whatever it possibly can to retain the private hospital here in Kingaroy for the benefit of all residents within the South Burnett region. The retention, at least, of the visiting specialists and the day surgery is something that I consider to be vital as far as our residents are concerned. Now, I know that there's a lot of talk within the region about should council pay or should council not pay. I hold a very firm view that there will be forthcoming to the hospital support from a large beneficiary who will support the hospital in its operational costs. I think this is absolutely wonderful, and one that will guarantee that the private hospital's longevity in the area will remain.
We're in this unique situation where we actually have a regional private hospital. And I know that when people make decisions, one of those major 5 factors in moving their family from one community to another is health. When I'm looking at the private hospital, what I'm considering is what does our community need now and what does our community need into the future? And from your perspective, how much do you have to pay for that? What I'd like to see is I'd like to see it retained, because what we need to be building together is a strong economy that's filled with families who want to live, work and play here.
No, as a mayor, I will not allow you to pay for this private hospital. It's not a community hospital if it's private enterprise. And council running it, it doesn't make sense to me. The funds that will be required have been quoted at $30,000 a month loss. So therefore you've got to now fork out $360,000 a year to keep it open as a hospital. You also have to pay $300,000 quoted as maintenance cost per year. That's huge amounts of money. Where are they going to get that back from? Initially, patients will start using it, yes. However, over time, patients will start getting dwindled down. They won't be using the facility as much because there was never that need for it. There was never that full-on capacity of need for it. Otherwise, private enterprise would have been still operating it and still making a buck out of it.